What's going on, my good people? Mike Hidalgo here. Thank you for joining us on another FCP Euro DIY. Today we're going to be working on a 2016 Mercedes-Benz GLA 250. Today on the GLA behind me, we're going to be covering how to do an oil change, but my good people, I need you to listen up before you ruin your engine and flood it with oil. This DIY is applicable to strictly your M270 equipped GLAs, as well as other M270 equipped vehicles. In front of us, we have a Liqui Moly oil change kit, which includes the 6 liters of oil, a new Hanks filter, the O-rings needed for the oil filter housing cap, a crush washer, a new drain plug, all the good stuff we need. The crucial thing with these are two things. One is how you fill the engine with oil, and two, your oil filter itself. You'll see on the new Hanks filter here, there is a built-in sealing, almost like a secondary O-ring. When you remove your old one, you want to ensure that the old one comes out. This one faces down into the oil filter housing and mates with the bottom of the housing. So you don't want to have two seals in there. Same idea if you had a spin-on type filter with two seals, it's going to cause problems. So make sure that the old one comes out. On the genuine filters, this may be a metal ring in here. If yours is missing or deteriorated, or for some reason you just end up in a position where this is bad and you need another one, you can pull them off the filters and reuse them. With that, we have our oil. With these vehicles, it is crucial to fill them super slowly when it comes time to pouring in oil. The key here is to have the dipstick removed at all times until you are completely done with the oil change. If you go too quickly and you keep the dipstick in, you can create some sort of weird back pressure and cause oil to go into the intake manifold, into the turbo, and even all the way up into the air box. So again, keep the dipstick out as a rule of thumb. When you start the job, pull it out, set it to the side, and forget about it until we're done with this DIY. We'll show you how to do that as we go through the job. But before we get started, let's take a look at some of the tools we're gonna need for this DIY. For this DIY, we're gonna be using a 27 mil socket, a 13 mil socket, and an 8 mil socket. We also have a 13 millimeter wrench, a small pick, a small extension for the 27 mil socket, which we'll be using with a 1/2 inch drive ratchet. We also have a 3/8 drive ratchet, an electric one too, and a torque wrench. Small funnel, whatever you like to use as far as funnels go. We also have the European no-spill funnels, which we link often in these DIYs. And on top of that, not pictured here but needed, is going to be a catch pan for your oil. Now with that, let's go ahead and get started on this DIY. All right, my good people, to get started, the first thing we're going to do is pull off our beauty cover. Now just be mindful, if you were just running the car, things are going to be a little bit warm, especially when it comes time to work on removing the exhaust. So just be careful. Don't burn yourself. These are just held in by a couple rubber grommets on some studs that come off the cylinder head. You can see we have 5 points that these grommets kind of just clip in on the top of the head. Pretty straightforward. Most new cars have this type of beauty cover. We're going to set this to the side. And now with that, we have a better view of the exhaust, some of the heat shields we have to remove, some of the intake piping. Next though, just to keep it in the theme of draining the oil here, as that's the first thing we're going to do before we do anything else, is we're going to remove the oil fill cap. And we're just going to set that up here in the cowl. That's the safe spot, right? And then with that, we're also going to pull out the dipstick. This we're going to keep out quite literally until the very end of the job, even after we fill the engine with oil. We're going to use a little bit of shop towel just around the oil filter housing cap in case we have any spillage. Not the end of the world, as it's kind of a straight drop down over the axle, but no reason why we can't try to work clean and keep our area clean. Shop towel is nice because it kind of just bunches up wherever you leave it, and it'll catch any drips as we pull out the oil filter housing now. This is also going to allow the oil to flow out even easier. Obviously we have the oil cap and the dipstick out, but anything we can do to help drain the oil filter housing is going to be good, considering that we're going to have basically all new fresh oil. So again, 27 mil socket. I just use an extension with the ratchet to get that off. All right, that is loose. I'm gonna pull that up slowly. I'm gonna use a shop towel underneath to kind of catch any drippage while we do that. At this point, we have our oil fill cap removed. We have the dipstick removed. We have the oil filter housing or the cap and the filter out of the way. And we're gonna raise this car up before we come back up here to take anything off. We're gonna raise it up and start draining the oil from below. We have a splash shield to take off first, so let's do that now. All right, underneath the car, we have this small splash shield, which sits under the majority of the oil pan, 3 8mm bolts to remove it. We're gonna zap them out using the electric ratchet. And we're gonna grab our 13mm wrench or ratchet, whichever you prefer, and break that drain plug free. And we got the pan situated where when the oil projectiles out, we should be good in catching it. And just like whenever you're doing an oil change, make sure the old crush washer comes off. In this case, it came right off with our drain plug. Now we're gonna go ahead and put our new drain plug in. We also have a new crush washer, again, making sure that the old one came off. We're gonna use a 13mm socket. We're gonna torque it down to 30 Newton meters. With that situated, now we can grab our shield and our 3 8mm bolts and get that snugged up. All right, with this all buttoned up, let's head back up top and fill this baby with some oil. All right, so with the housing out, we're gonna remove our old O-rings and swap out our new ones. These come with the Hengst oil filter, of course. Just be mindful that for this big top one, there is a special groove dedicated for that O-ring specifically. You don't wanna leave it in the threaded portion. You don't wanna leave it past, otherwise you will have a leak. Moving down, we have a secondary O-ring right here towards the end of the shaft. And we have one more at the end. Again, small pick, small flathead screwdriver. We'll get that one. We'll do the trick. And we can just take our new ones, feed them over. A little bit of oil on them will help them seal nicely inside the engine, or inside the oil filter housing, I should say. So don't be afraid to get any oil on them. And if they're a little bit dry and you did a superb job cleaning this cap, then go ahead and grab some fresh liquid moly, dip your fingers in it, and just spread it on the seals. Again, sealing surface of the filter facing down into the housing, just like that. Now let's feed it over. And we're just gonna snug this down by hand. You can pretty much, if you had a way to get a good grip on it, do it all by hand. The torque spec for that cap is 25 Newton meters. But basically once it snugs down, it's not gonna go any further. So don't force it anymore. If you don't have a torque wrench to use with it, just snug it down until it stops and you're good to go. All right, we got our oil funnel in place. We're gonna hold that as we go. The capacity for the M270 is just over 5.5 liters, 5.6 to be exact. So just keep that in mind. Obviously you have a dipstick to double check your work. But the key here is to just pour the oil super, super slowly. Dipstick out again. I know we talked about it earlier. Keep that out. You don't want to build up any back pressure and flood the inside of the engine. So we're going to take our sweet time and just pour this nice and slowly, and we'll catch you in a little bit. All right, we got just about 4.4 liters left in there, so that's gonna be good. We're gonna get rid of this baby here. And obviously, like any car, my good people, once you're done, run the car for a little bit, let it sit for 5-10 minutes, go back, double check your dipstick, make sure that the level looks good. You know, there's no harm in doing that. And like we said at the beginning, the very last step is gonna be this baby right here. And if you still have it, let's throw that beauty cover on and wrap up this DIY. All right, lining up the oil fill cap and the dipstick. And there we go, my good people. Another DIY in the books. Overall, a really straightforward and easy job on the M270. Again, being super crucial to go nice and slow with the fill and keep the dipstick out, and everything will be fine. If you like this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments on what we did today, leave those in the comment section below. And if you like this DIY and you want to see more like them, please consider subscribing. We make new ones all the time. As always, thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you in the next one.